Bri Jackson. Thank you so much for being here on From Moment to Movement.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. And you are the regional manager for the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Yes.
You guys have been busy.
Very busy. Very, very busy, yes.
What do you think is your top priority at the moment, this moment in time?
Right now, for me, is youth violence. We've done a couple of listening sessions, quite a few actually, and that has been the top identified issue. So that is our priority right now, is trying to decrease the level of youth violence that's occurring in our community, because it's running rampant right now.
So break that down to me. What does that look like? I mean, kids go to school, they come home. What is happening with the whole violence thing and crime?
So that's the thing. Kids don't just go to school and come home. They are outside a lot more often than we like to think. Also, there's after school hours. With the lack of programming and things for them to do outside of school, they're finding things to do. And those things are not positive things. And also we have the children who have been assigned to like other schools, like alternative schools. They're getting into a lot of trouble. And so it's very complex as far as where they're spending their time. A lot of it is outside and doing things that they shouldn't be doing. But when you lack guidance in certain areas, then I mean, trouble is bound to find you.
What is the quality of education when they are inside the classroom?
So Augusta, Richmond County struggles a little in the education arena. I know our reading level here in Augusta is relatively low. We have some low scores and things of that nature. Can't give exact numbers, but I do know that the scores are lower than we'd like them to be. And like I said, literacy rates are relatively low. So while the education system has the potential to be quality, it's not quite there just yet. We're losing a lot of teachers. We're losing a lot of special education teachers and programming. So they're doing their best, but funding is also being threatened. So trying to work around all of those things kind of puts the education system at risk.
Well, what about school vouchers? Can't parents just get a school voucher, go to another district or another school within the district?
They can, and the vouchers are there, but I think that process requires a little bit of a deep dive, because the vouchers are essentially more harmful than they are helpful, especially when you think about it from a systemic standpoint. It seems relatively easy to get the voucher and go to another school, but the voucher does not cover all of the tuition that would be due at the other school. And then the school that they are going to has the opportunity to reject that student and kick them out, still receiving that voucher funding. And so that puts our kids at risk, because they get into these new schools that they've paid for with the voucher, which has bankrupted their family trying to come up with the rest of the tuition, then they get put out. And they get sent right back to public school if there's a slot available. So the vouchers they seem like they would be helpful, but they're not.
So if within the four walls of the school building, there's not the top level available to them in terms of education, maybe there's not support at home, there's, they're in between schools, there's a lot of time spent outside of the schools. What does that perpetuate?
An idle mind, right? You've heard the saying, when you don't have things to actively engage you, you essentially find something to engage you. And with an immature mind, all the children have, because they are children, they find other activities to get into. So then there's this influx of violence and kind of deviant behavior that starts to kind of take over the city. So for example, we saw over Thanksgiving, there was a robbery that took place at a gas station that involved a 10-year-old doing the robbing. So there have been murders that have taken place between 16 and 17-year-olds, 14-year-olds. We had a group of our young men and women, water boys and girls, they were shot. You know what I mean? So if there is not active engagement with the youth, they will find something to do. And that is why we're seeing this influx in criminal activity from them.
So they get in trouble with the law at a very young age, and then does that define their future?
Well, I don't think it has to define it, but it definitely becomes normal. So when you get in trouble, even for like what we classify as like normal kid behavior, spray painting buildings and things like that. When you introduce them to the judicial system so early, it becomes normalized. It becomes something that almost is cool, like I saw the judge. And you're so young that you think that this is what life is supposed to be. They're very impressionable, they're sponges, and we all know that. So being introduced so early definitely kind of normalizes the situation. And while it doesn't have to define them, it can leave a lasting impression on their.
With the various issues involved, oftentimes organizations, nonprofits will come in and kind of do the work for the people, help them, whether it's register to vote or to organize. But the Southern Poverty Law Center, your approach is very different. Tell us exactly what you're doing here in this part of Georgia to help people address the needs facing them.
Yeah, so we do not work for the community, like do the work for them. We empower them to do the work that they already know how to do. When I first came into this position, I conducted listening sessions first because while I see issues here, the work is driven based off what the community wants, what they see and what they want changed. So no projects ever take place until the community says they want to do something about this thing. So after identifying several issues, that's how projects get developed. And it is not done, in lieu of them, or, I don't develop a project and then just say, everybody jump on board. They do the work. I just guide them along the work and make sure that they can get it all done and help where I can. But I am not doing the work for them. My job is to empower them and let them know that they still hold the power. This is their community and their issues that they want to fix, and they can do it themselves.
What's the benefit of that approach versus just coming and doing for it? It seemed like it'd be faster if the pros that know how to do it just do it.
Yes, it would be faster, but it would not be sustainable because then I would have to consistently do that work. Teaching the people that they have the power and showing them how to get it done, make sure that not only do they get the work done and they make the changes that they want to see in their community, but they bring their loved ones in, they bring the youth in, and they can continue to do that work and maintain that standard throughout time. I could do it for them, but there's no benefit in that.
So in that effort, you started the Legacy Village.
Yes.
Right? Tell me about that.
So Legacy Village is a coalition of organizations, and we're working together to address a multitude of issues. My issue from SPLC's perspective is focusing on the youth violence. However, that's not the only issue that youth face. As we just mentioned, the education system, the school to prison pipeline, all of these things still exist. The lack of programming, the funding issues. There's youth facing housing and hunger and all sorts of issues, and their parents and their grandparents and their friends and their peers. So everybody is in a struggle right now. So Legacy Village comes from the thought or the saying that it does take a village. And it doesn't just take a village to raise a child. It takes a village to be a village. We have to take care of each other. So Legacy Village is a collection of the organizations, and they all work together to meet different needs. My initiative or goal would be to focus on youth violence, but there are other organizations who focus on education, Black agriculture, homelessness and hunger, all sorts of different aspects of problems. So we teamed up together to work to address all needs so that we can make a bigger impact.